In this lecture, we are going to create an ASP.NET Core application utilizing the command line. We're going to build just a C# file and a project.json file and try to compile it via command line. So let's go over here to my desktop. Let's right click and click New Folder. And let's name this first underscore command app. And once we have that set up, let's go over here to my Start menu and let's do Visual Studio Code. And in Visual Studio Code, let's open the folder. So I'm going to click File, Open Folder. Let's go to my desktop, click First Command App, select that folder. And here we're going to create two files, a JSON file and a C# file. So let's go right here, let's create a new file, and let's put this first app.cs. In the next one, let's just create a project.json file. So now that we have our two files created, let's go to our first app.cs. Let's go ahead and just create a C# file. We're going to utilize the using command. We're going to put system to inherit that, or a semicolon. We're not going to create a namespace, we're just going to create a class file with the public static void method. So let's put public class first app, put our parentheses, and then inside of this, let's go ahead and put a public static void method. And inside of that, let's pass string args. This will be just like you're creating just a regular C# file that's going to write out to the console. Once we have that set, let's move some of this space. Let's go over here and let's just do console.writeLine. And let's put here, we're going to write out to the console our first app via DNX command line. Put our semicolon at the end. Now once we have that, this is just a class file that's run in the public static void main method, and inside of that we're just writing out to the console. So now once we have that, let's go to our project.json. And in the project.json, we have to configure what framework we're using and also set the compilation options to emit the entry point so that it does not require the static void method when compiling the C#. We want to make it where the DNX points to the C# file and then compiles it and runs to the console. So let's go over here and create a JSON file. Open and closing tags. The first thing that we want to do, it gives you the automatic option to do the restore for dependencies, and we can do that real quick. So now let's go here and let's type compilation options. It's going to open and close that tag, and let's just put emit entry point, and let's set this to true. Now once we have that, let's put a comma after this, and let's target our different frameworks. So let's put frameworks. And inside of that, let's just put the DNX 451. We're not going to put the DNX core, but let's just put that one right there. And let's just put an open and closing tag. Let's save that, format the code. So this is all we have to do to create our first app via the command line. We have our project.json file right here that sets the compilation options to emit the entry point equal to true. So when you run the DNX run command, this automatically looks in the first app.cs file. In the first app.cs, we're utilizing and using the system. We're creating a public class first app. We are creating a public static void main method that takes a parameter of string args and we're writing to the console our first app via DNX command line. So once we have that, let's go to the command prompt, click it, and here we can just cd to this directory. So we just take this, copy it, paste it there, and then once we have that set, the first thing that we're going to have to implement is DNU restore because we changed the project.json from the last time we implemented. Let's put DNU restore. It's going to rebuild our packages. Then what we're going to write is DNX run. And look at that. Our first app via DNX command line. So this went ahead and implemented our C# code. Let's look at this next to each other. So once we have that set up, look at that. Let's say I just want to change this. So let's go over here and say our first app. Yeah. Yay. So once we have that, let's go ahead and try to run that again. See what happens. Our first app, yay. You see that? This is so beautiful that we are running a C# file with a project.json file. It's restoring the packages that are necessary to run this C# file, and we're emitting all the required frameworks to associate to run this C# file. We're not putting the DNX core, we're just putting the DNX 4.51, and we're setting our compilation options to emit entry point equal to true. So it finds the first app.cs entry point and executes what's in the public static void main method. So this is very nice. We have created our first app in Visual Studio in the previous lecture. And in this lecture, we created our first app using the .NET execution via command line. I want to thank you for joining me in this lecture. Have a nice day.